Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to APPF1 Tier 2 for tonight's dose of racing action. I'm SUMO, your commentator this evening, back from 2 weeks of holiday, and I'm joined, as always, by my amazing co-commentator, Ghost. How you doing, mate?
Hello, I'm doing good. I hope I steered the ship reasonably well in your absence, SUMO. Yes, we're back as the duo here in Zandvoort. Very fast-flowing, well, fast, maybe not, but flowing definitely track, and yeah, it should be decent.
Yes, should be a good one then. It is the halfway point of the season as well, and we head to the Netherlands for tonight's race. Circuit Zandvoort is 4.259 kilometre circuit that undulates through the dunes of North Zandvoort. 14 corners make up the circuit, with some of the steepest banking in Formula 1. Overtaking will be tricky at this narrow circuit, and the walls will be ever present, but it should offer a great venue for some racing. Are there any thoughts on the circuit, Ghost?
It's a very tricky one to get right in qualifying, for sure. In the race, very easy to lose the rear at several points. Several corners on the exits, especially due to the undulation, like you said, can be easy to just get a bit too rear happy. It will be all about who can nail their qualifying laps. We've had 2 wet races in Tier 1 and Elite earlier this week, or well, this race week anyway. I wonder if Tier 2 will be completely dry in contrast.
Well, we'll wait and see. It looks fairly clear out there at the moment. You may notice we have a very, very small contingent of drivers out on the grid today. It is a shame. We have tried our very hardest to get as many of the drivers out as possible, as Scott goes for a bit of a spin, one of tonight's reserve drivers. But that means we are doing a 35% race rather than the standard 50. So we'll still get this pit stop in. We'll still have a bit of strategy that comes into effect for the races, but there'll definitely be a lack of laps out there at the moment. And speaking of I've lost my words. It's been 2 weeks of no commentary. Speaking of the format at the moment, we'll take a look at the standings as well. And actually, Ghost, if you want to just, I mean, mostly for me, but for everybody watching as well, remind us of what happened over the last few races of the season.
Right, well, while you weren't here, SUMO, we had a pretty crazy race in Las Vegas. We had 2 new guys in the Ferraris, Jonathan C. and Jacob Pasty, qualified very high up. And Jonathan ended up winning the race. Jacob Pasty didn't manage to finish. But we had Crozer on the podium, and JB made it a Red Bull 2-3 in that race. Tier, despite being off the pace for the entire race pretty much, kept his car out the wall the whole way and finished P4 as a result. So Tier did very well there and kept his championship lead. But then we went to Paul Ricard for round 4, and Jonathan took pole with his teammate alongside him. It's a Ferrari 1-2. But the race turned out very differently. Jonathan dominated for the entire race up until a safety car right at the very end, and it started to rain as well. Everyone went onto the inters, and Crozer turned out to be absolutely outrageously fast in the wet, and he went from trundling around at the back of the grid to overtaking everyone and winning the race. Jonathan didn't have any pace in the wet after the safety car and ended up P4, and it was Lawrence, and Mr. J-Man got his first podium in 2 seasons in P3 as well. So a lot happened while you were gone, and as a result, Crozer now leads the driver's standings with 58 points. Tier is just behind on 53. Muhiti is P3, but he's not here today. He's on 44 points, and Lawrence, the reserve, who's just gone provisional pole, he is P4 on 36 points. JB also not here today on 36 points.
Wow, there we go then. So some action-packed couple weeks of racing then as well. And just to say, Jonathan is in P6 on 32, so if he carries on his form at the moment, he may end up creeping toward that fight at the top, but we've got quite a close one in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. We'll take a quick glance over the Constructors at the moment. Red Bull are very much ahead on 94 points, with Williams fighting it out for P2 with Aston Martin, those teams on 65 and 62 respectively. Then we have Ferrari on 58 points, they're just looking to join the fray. Then a little bit further back are the Alpine outfit on 31, then Mercedes on 28, then we have Haas with 27 who are tied with McLaren, and then a point behind those two teams is AlphaTauri with Alfa Romeo a point behind the Scuderia outfit to round off the 10 teams on the grid then. So only 8 drivers then, so we've had somebody join in during qualifying. It was Crozer, here he is, here to defend his lead at the moment. So should be a good little fight perhaps. If he is on the pace here at the moment. And speaking of pace, Lawrence is currently setting it on a 1 minute 9.5 in the Alfa Romeo, a few tenths ahead of Jonathan in the Ferrari. Let's see what Scott can do as he comes around the banking, opens up the DRS on the banking as well. The game doesn't show you where it is. Puts in a 10.7, doesn't improve, but gets himself a little bit closer to Mr. J-Man in his Williams.
Yeah, indeed, not a bad lap from Scott. I think there's more to come from J-Man, but Lawrence beating out Jonathan. I think those two most likely for pole position today, although Robsu has been notably off form this season. He was easily one of the fastest drivers on the grid last season, but this season he's missed a couple of races as well, but even in the races he has been in, he hasn't been sort of challenging for pole like we expect him to. Yeah, it's been a bit of an odd one for Robsu. He's currently in the pits, is the Finn, but I think that's him just exiting now. No, that's the Alfa Romeo of Lawrence. But yeah, interesting times. So can Robsu uptick his form a bit here in Zandvoort?
Yeah, riding on board with Mr. J-Man, then taking us around a lap of Zandvoort, late into one on the brakes, and late apex as well to get yourself around. Then it's a couple flicks to the left and to the right, and then you're through this banking here as you go through, looking for the best exit possible. Then it's flat as far as you can go until you get to this point where you lift a little bit, maybe go down a gear or so just to get the car through there, and then it's attacking this corner here, just shifting down a gear or so, little bit of braking as late as you dare through here, not quite touching the apex for J-Man, but you don't want to get too close to it around here, and you want a late one here for this corner, focusing on that exit once again. First of the 2 DRS zones, opens up that rear wing to give him that boost down the straight, braking just before the 50-meter board into this twisty little section here of a right and then a left, focusing on the exit once again. Exit very crucial around here, then a little dab on the brakes and a couple shifts down through this corner and then into the final, opening up the DRS just a bit further back and then through the banking and onto the straight. Now where's this going to put J-Man? This wasn't the cleanest of laps, but it is a 2/10 improvement. Does see him get a little bit closer to the leaders at the minute.
He lost a lot of time in that final sector. Sumo went very wide at the penultimate corner and had to lift to avoid invalidating. So I think he's got at least another 2 or 3 tenths in him, but even that wouldn't be enough to catch the top 2. So Mr. J-Man going to need some more time in order to get himself onto that front row. But everyone else in the pits. Robsu finally going out for an outlap. To set a lap in this one. Crozer, the championship leader, still in the pits though.
They're still in the pits, not coming out just yet. Maybe waiting for some track evolution, or perhaps getting in some final tweaks to his setup or something along those lines, or maybe just not around for the time being. But still a few drivers also waiting to put in some laps. I think Tito Man backed out on his attempt at a lap around here at the moment. Just want to say there's 5 people in the chats or in the stream so far. Hello to those 5 people. If you've not done so already, please leave a like and subscribe if you've not done so already. All the support goes a long way. 4 of you have not liked the stream thus far, so you 4 know exactly who you are. And of course, if you're watching along with us, do join in with the live chat as well. All of that is appreciated. and we could start up a bit of a conversation, maybe put in some predictions or any thoughts. We do love to hear from you. We don't bite anymore, I promise. As we carry on, but Robsu then in the Aston Martin, trying to make some amends, make up a bit of a poor season from him at the moment, and he's not a terrible driver by any means, but he's certainly not on the form that we've seen him in.
Yeah, he's better than he has been. Jonathan, though, just about beats out Lawrence for that pole position at the moment. 1 minute 9.533, although Lawrence is improving, and his lap 1.5 tenths up in the Alfa Romeo as well. So we could see that pole position last for only a few seconds as Lawrence comes through the final couple of corners now. Can he nail them? He doesn't get wide on the penultimate corner, but I think there was more to be found there. So down towards the line he comes. He's out of ERS as well, which could cost him, but it doesn't matter. 1 minute 9.2, and I think that's going to be unbeatable from the British driver. Jonathan going to have to come up with something special to beat that one. Robsu coming around the final corner now in the Aston Martin. Can the Finn get it any closer to the front row? It's a 10.2. He's just behind J-Man. As Tier, though, goes into P3, and that's the sort of qualifying form that we've come to expect from the Aston Martin driver this season.
Yes, that's a better lap from Tier, and maybe he can get himself a bit closer to Jonathan if he can put a decent lap together. Krauser finally venturing out onto the circuit around the halfway point now of the session, or at least I think it is. The yellow flag thing is still covering my tower at the moment. So what's that yellow flag?
There's about 6 minutes left.
Lawrence looks like he's run out of fuel, maybe? Yeah, he's out of fuel. He's poodling around in his Alpha Tauri. Alfa Romeo even. Is that a Crofty? Poodling around he is. But yeah, it says Krauser out on the circuit finally. Tito Man's back out on track as well, trying to put in a lap time. Can the McLaren do anything special for us at the moment? The only driver on a lap at the moment, I believe, as he's making his way around. Hopefully he won't run into any traffic. I think he'll just about miss it. He might even get a nice tow from the Red Bull just ahead of him as we're going on as well. This could be a good little points haul for Aston Martin this evening as well, actually. The only team pairing being out there. They need a decent race to really capitalise on the lack of drivers at the moment. But here comes the McLaren. It's a 10.5. It's ahead of Scott at the moment, so it's in the mix, but it's not anywhere near the top at the moment, so some time to be found, and there's about 4 minutes and 40 seconds or so to go and find that time out there. Let's keep an eye on Krauser.
Indeed, championship leader coming through sector 1 now. Down towards the next section. He should have just enough time to set another lap after this one. It'll be 30 seconds, 3 minutes 50. And then he'll do another lap, so 2.5 minutes. It'll be very close, but I think he will just about have time to get in and out again. But coming to the end of Sector 2 and into Sector 3, he's just going to want to set a decent banker, get himself a little way up the grid, and then hopefully he'll have the time to set a decent lap later. But he's tapped the grass there, which I'm surprised it hasn't lost him a huge amount of grip into that corner, Sumo.
Yeah, tapping the grass is very fatal in these cars. They really do not like a little touch on the grass, and that must have cost him some time there because he's down in the 1 minute 10.8.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to shoot it round and get himself back into the pits. Hopefully he doesn't run out of fuel on the way around, but hopefully he should get himself back around. Jonathan's out for what's going to be his final run of the evening, car number 73. First time out on the grid, at least as far as I'm concerned. So we'll eagerly await what he can do out there at the moment.
Mr. J-Man's 3 tenths up through Sector 2, Sumo. He's coming down to the final sector. Can he hook up this penultimate corner? He gets it much better this time. Doesn't run wide like he did on his previous effort. And down towards the line, it comes the Belgian driver. What can he do? It's a 9.4. He's up to P2. Excellent stuff from Mr. J-Man. That is what he would have wanted to see. And Jonathan, well, he's been in 2 races so far. He's been on pole in both of them. So this could be the first race in Tier 2 where he doesn't take pole.
Yeah, Scott was out on a lap as well. He spun in sector 2, so he's way down on his time. I think he was up when he came over the sector 2 line, so that is a shame as we go. But I think he'll try and go again with the ERS that he's got. What sort of lap he'll put in is yet to be found out. Tier is out on track as well. Keep an eye on the Aston Martin. I think he has a little bit more to say in this qualifying session as well. What about Jonathan? Oh, he's backed
Jonathan, yeah, he backed off. He turned in too early for, is that 1, 2, 3, turn 4, I think, the banked one. Turned in too early, hit the curb, and that was lap over.
Oh, that is a shame. He'll try and go again. He's definitely got some time out there. Krause is still yet to come out, but I think he's going to in a few moments' time. But watching Tier then as he comes through Sector 2 now. He'll hope that Jonathan gets out of the way somewhere decent for him as he comes up and along. Yes, he does. Thank you very much, says Tier. Coming down through, I think that's turn 10. That one. It is turn 10, yes. Botch 10, I think it's called. Oh, it's just turn 10 in Dutch. I don't know, I don't speak Dutch. Rick, if you're in the chat and you're watching, let us know what it means. But Lawrence is retired. He's out. He's done for the day. So he thinks that nobody could beat his time out there at the moment, and perhaps thinks he can't go any better than that. But let's see where Tier goes in the Aston Martin. It's an improvement by the smallest of margins, but not enough to see him up a position. Jonathan is going off once again in anger as well. I think it's going to be done for J-Man. It's his session done. Peels into the pits.
Yeah, Crows is on an outlap. Robsu has stayed in the pit, so he's not going to go again. Tier is obviously finished. Jonathan's got worn tyres, so it'll be quite the lap if he can improve on 1 lap old tyres around this track. He is a 10th up in Sector 1, so wow, what a performance this could be from Jonathan. Tito Man has invalidated, but Crozer just coming to finish start his final lap.
Was that a little bit of a loss of the car there? That looked a bit weird.
What was that for Jonathan?
Maybe it was just the way he turned in. It just looked like the rear went a little bit, but I think it's just the turning of that corner.
Oh, he's 2 tenths up nearly. This could be enough for pole for Jonathan. Here he comes around the final few corners. This would be quite a blow to Mr. J-Man, who's put in a fantastic effort there. But Jonathan, the Irishman, through the final corner he comes. Looked like he left nothing on the table through the penultimate corner. Down to the line he goes. It's a 9.4. It's not enough. He lost time in the last sector, and he's only P3. Tito Man's invalidated, so it's all about the championship leader, who's 3 tenths up in Sector 1, but he's spun nearly in Sector 2, and I think there's a few drops of rain on the camera, Sumo. There is. So Crozer's going to really struggle to improve here.
Yeah, he's just fighting the car. He lost it again coming out of turn 10 there. At the moment, he's going to be down on his time as well. That's going to be a huge blow to Crozer's qualifying session. He joined late in, didn't get the early laps in, which could have been crucial. He could have had that extra run in there, and that could have seen him up toward the top. Is he going to find himself improving? If he can at least get in the top 5, he may recover, but no improvement. A second down on his previous best. So that's it. Crozer's going to be starting this race from the back, and it's going to be Lawrence taking pole position with J-Man coming in P2, and Jonathan is going to lose out on that position 2 by only 6 thousandths of a second at the moment. Just that, he went slightly wide coming into the final corner, touched the grass, and I think that is what cost him the time.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I think he'll be a little gutted to lose out on his perfect record. But yeah, P3 for him. It was going to happen eventually, and Mr. J-Man will be ecstatic to be on the front row with Lawrence. But it is him who takes pole. And then Tier in P4, he'll be looking to beat out his championship rival in Crozer today, and the other Aston Martin in Robsu will be hoping to help his teammate to catch up to Red Bull in the Constructors. Tito in P6, Scott P7, and the championship leader down in P8 after not being able to set a proper representative lap time.
Yes, there we go then. So that is your qualifying session, and it should be an interesting one, especially with the threat of rain lurking around at the moment. Will it rain during the race? We're yet to find out. Tito Man says in the chat, FYI, I had some time on the table there. That is a shame that you invalidated, Tito. Would have liked to see you go a bit quicker, but you know, the mistakes happen, and for next time it looks nice and sunny and nice and clear out there, but that can change over the course of a race, and there'll be some drivers out there hoping for a wet race. Krauser, if he's definitely got the pace around here as well, but at the moment no threat of rain.
Indeed. Well, I think the man to watch will be Krauser. He's definitely got a lot of race pace in that car, just from that Sector 1 that he did. But also Robsu looking to improve his record so far. I mean, it's been a DNF and a crash in the other race as well that he did. DNF'd in Las Vegas after coming together with Lucas Scythe. But he's going to be hoping for a decent result here, because it would really be a waste of an opportunity if Aston Martin didn't have both cars scoring decent points today. With such low attendance, there's so many points on the table, even for finishing last.
Yes, indeed, and there'll be plenty on offer, and Aston Martin will be hoping to get a bit of get themselves up there, work together, perhaps maybe keep Krauser behind. But here we go then, 3, 4, 5 red lights for round number 5 here at APPF1 Tier 2, and we are underway. It looks like a good start from Lawrence. He's covered off the Williams quite well here, and it's a good start from everybody, really nice and quiet between everyone. A little bit of jostling, a little bit of looking for a way through on other cars at the moment, and J-Man just holding off Jonathan for the time being. Robsu has got ahead of his teammate at the moment, looks to the inside, doesn't quite find a way through on the Ferrari as they go one by one through these first few corners. At the moment, a very, very clean start.
Yeah, great start from everyone. Krauser just tapping the back of Tito as they went through turn 2. As Tito now down the inside of Scott through this tricky section. Krauser's just got to wait and see what happens and try and take advantage. He can try go around the outside of Tito, but has to back out. And he's losing a lot of time behind these two now as he looks to the inside but can't quite make the move.
No, not quite. And we take a quick look then at the strategy as we go along. It's a fairly even mix, actually. It was exactly an even mix. 4 drivers on mediums, 4 on softs. As you can see on the screen, it's Lawrence, J-Man, Robsu and Krauser opting for the yellow wall tyre. Then Jonathan, Tier, Scott and Tito opting for the red wall tyre. So they're going a bit more aggressive in this first stint, while as the others are going a little bit longer in this race. Is this a swap of positions between the Aston Martins, perhaps? Or is it Robsu defending? Are these two going to fight one another? Tier, T's round!
Oh, that's hugely disappointing for Tier. Was there contact, Sumo?
It didn't look like there was contact. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I don't think they came together. Tier was around the outside and maybe touched a curb or touched a bit of grass. Yeah, and just lost the car. It didn't look like there was any sort of contact. It's not too huge of a spin. He can definitely make up some of that time, but he's definitely got it's definitely put him on the back foot here. And well, perhaps we cursed Aston Martin, but we've got a little bit of a fight brewing here for the lead of the race.
Yeah, we certainly do. But yeah, Tier's only 3 seconds down. He can catch that back up. He's got opportunities, but Krauser will be very happy to see his main championship rival spinning to the back of the grid.
Yeah, Jonathan will want to try and make the most of these soft tyres here. The Ferrari is surrounded by medium runners. He needs to try and get ahead of them soon, but I don't know, the gap is 0.5 of a second at the moment, and he's just not quite close enough to launch any sorts of attacks, and it doesn't look like he's got the best of pace at the moment. But J-Man is keeping with Lawrence.
Comes Krauser to the inside.
Here he goes down the inside, the Red Bull on Scott, the room left. Scott goes right around the outside, gets the better run on the exit. There was barely a piece of paper between the two of them, but he kept it respectful.
Oh, contact! Krauser breaks too late and hits the side of Scott, and that's clumsy from the championship leader. Scott's round. It always seems to be Scott. They love taking out Scott in Tier 2 for some reason. Don't understand why, but that's our first incident of the race. But look at this, Mr. J-Man right in the back of Lawrence. We've got a 4-way battle for the lead of this one.
Yeah, this is going to be good. I feel for you, Scott. I really do. That was me in sprints every single race back in the day. Everybody seemed to like taking me out when I was on the track. But I digress at the moment. That will be one for Jackalaka. You thought you were going to get out of it with a small grid, Jack, but no chance. with that one. But here we go then, 4-car fight for the lead of this race. At the moment, it's all calm at the moment, but there's a chance it will kick off. DRS is activated now, so we are going to see a bit more racing at the minute. J-Man just able to fend off the 2 drivers behind, much to Jonathan's frustrations at the moment. He'll surely want to try and get battling on those softer compound of tyres. And Krauser, he'll definitely want to try and get up, although a penalty may be coming his way after that coming together with Scott just a few laps, well, a few moments ago, I suppose. But at the moment, J-Man fends off Jonathan and Robsu, who are chasing down Lawrence for the lead of this race.
Yeah, well, what's interesting, Sumo, is that the last 2 Grand Prix that you haven't been here, Jonathan has always looked so comfortable. He's been on well over 95% ERS for the majority. It just seemed very comfortable, very pacey, but you can see he's down to 80%. It doesn't sound like he's lost a lot, but for what I've seen from Jonathan so far this season, for him to use ERS, it shows he's really being challenged, and he really feels threatened today. And those soft tyres are only going to degrade faster and faster as the laps wear on.
Yeah, Jonathan does have the most DRS out of the 4 battling here. J-Man just having a little bit of a look to the inside of Lawrence in towards turn number 1. Not quite going to go for it. I think turn number 1 is Tarzan, as far as my corner names go. I think I'm right. Well, Tarzan Bocht. I think Bocht must be corner. It must be. I'm probably butchering it as well. Rick's gonna hate me for it, but you know what? Whatever, man.
Rick's going to be putting in chat, skull, 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 skull.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be seething. Absolutely seething. But anyway, we carry on. We still watch this 4-car battle as well. Tito Man is keeping Krauser company at the moment. Tier slowly catching up as he spins. As I say that, the minute I switch over to him, the curse is back. He's touched the grass again. And, well... back to the back, and he'll join Scott, the 2 veterans of APP at the back, fighting it out with each other.
Absolutely. They've been teammates before, I believe, and rivals as well in another time. So, yeah, it's a shame for Tier, that one, and an extra shame because he's now 3 places below his main championship rival in Krauser. And he'll be hoping for a safety car to get himself back into this one, because as it stands, Krauser fighting with Tito Man. Down the inside goes the McLaren. There's some real pace in the South African's car today, but Krauser holds on round the outside, and Tito going to have to try again another day, but Krauser can't get rid of this McLaren. There's a bit of contact between them as they go through as well, with Tito just caught out by the amount of acceleration and grip he has compared to the Red Bull. This is great stuff from Tito.
Robson very close to the back of this Ferrari as well. He was just under a tenth of a second a few moments ago, but he's definitely putting the pace on. What are the tyres like round here, guys? What's the wear? What's the degradation going to be for Jonathan at this time?
It's going to be pretty garbage. I'm not going to lie, Sumo. The softs wear away quite quickly. Once the mediums start to go, you really feel it. The hards are the only tyre that feel consistent around this track. But even then, they don't. Even once they hit their limit, they start to go as well. Once the tyres go, you are losing seconds a lap, multiple seconds on fresh tyres. So it's really about who can get the strategy right here. And I can't really remember if the undercut is particularly strong, but I would imagine it is. So the soft tyre runners may seem disadvantaged for now, but that undercut could gain them a whole wealth of time, as Tia has already pit onto the hards.
Yeah, remember way back to the first round of the season where the undercut was huge at the Hungaroring. The 2 circuits aren't too dissimilar from one another, as Robsu has a little look to the inside of turn number 7. On the curb, onto the grass as well. That's going to see him well out of this fight at the moment. He'll have time to catch back up, but that's a big mistake from Robsu.
Yeah, that's such a shame from the Finn. All it takes is just getting a bit too much on that curb and you're in a trip to the grass, because you can't get off the curb until the end of it. But yeah, that's such a shame. He was looking really quick. He was looking to overtake Jonathan at multiple points, but now 2.5 seconds back, and I can't really see a way back for him unless he's got some really, really strong pace in that Aston Martin, so who knows?
Who knows, but there'll be one less car challenging Jonathan at the moment toward the front, but the tyre wear may be becoming a bit of a challenge for the Ferrari, although he doesn't look like he's losing any time to the drivers ahead of him for the time being. Looks like Kroos has dispatched the Tito man a little bit, just about breaking the DRS right about now, so we'll focus on the fight for the lead. And, well, Lawrence is doing very well to hold off J-Man at the moment. Lawrence, of course, one of the previous front runners of the Tier 2 Championship, competed a lot in Tier 2, but I don't think he ever actually won a championship.
No,
he didn't. He's almost like Nico Hulkenberg in that way. Other than the amount of podiums Lawrence has, in that sense. But definitely one driver who on his day will definitely do the likes of this, get in the lead of a race and know how to stay in the lead of a race for the time being. And, well, things have settled down just a little bit again. There's a little touch of the grass from J-Man. That was brave.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, Lawrence, sort of always the bridesmaid, never the bride in Tier 2. He's always had a great start to the season. I think all 3 seasons he's been in, he's won the first race, but just hasn't been able to convert. Obviously, we had the incident in Baku a couple of seasons ago, and multiple other misfortunes that he's had. But Tito's come in for the hard tyres already. Makes me wonder if the others are also planning medium hard, or soft hard rather, or if any of them are going to go for the soft medium strat, notably Jonathan, as he is still right with J-Man and Lawrence at the moment. But J-Man doing really well. He got his first podium in over 2 seasons last week, and he'll be hoping to follow it up with another.
Yeah, J-Man, one of the more unfortunate drivers in APPF1 Tier 2. He's always been a great qualifier, but when it comes to the race, either something happens or he loses it at a crucial moment, and it ends up being a detriment to his championship or his race or whatnot. And actually, here he comes, has a little bit of a look. It was decent closing speed, but you really need to be close as the DRS is activated around here. And remember, it activates more or less a few meters after the detection point, as you can see on the mini-map there, not where the line says. The game has not updated that track map at the moment. Rick says, despite the number, this is still going to be a good race at the moment. Yes, it's looking like it. It's shaping up to be at the moment. We'll wait for the pit stops to come in. It's still quite a lot of laps for 35%, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, I've got to say, a lot of racing maturity being shown here by J-Man. There's times gone by where he would have burned all his ERS, gotten past Lawrence, and then gotten passed back again by Lawrence, and burned all his ERS, and then Jonathan goes straight past both of them. But here today, J-Man saving his ERS, not attacking Lawrence unless he absolutely has to, and as a result, he's got more ERS than Jonathan at this point.
Yeah, and I think he's making Lawrence sweat a little bit there. Lawrence has got about half the ERS that J-Man does right now, as Jonathan peels into the pit to get off of those soft compounded tyres. What tyre does he go on to, as J-Man again close through Tarzan at the moment? Onto the mediums then for the Ferrari. Robsu gets ahead of them, but he has yet to come in at the moment, so he'll come out behind most likely. But we'll see how powerful the undercut is for the drivers at the moment. But as I was saying, J-Man has been very patient. He's been making Lawrence use his ERS, making him sweat a little bit and just staying with him, which has been enough at the moment. However, I am noticing a yellow light as Tito Man has crashed.
He's in the pit.
He's in the pit exit, isn't he?
It seems like it.
Has he crashed in the pit exit?
I have no idea what's happened there. Yeah, this car's still going, so I think he must have just retired in the pits. Maybe he had to go. But Yeah, but that's a shame. But another point for Tia on the bright side for him, and Crozer up to P6. But J-Man, here we go. DRS open. Surely he'll get the pass done into turn 1 now on the Alfa Romeo. Down the inside, easily pass made from the Williams driver, and he leads the Dutch Grand Prix on lap 12 of 25, about halfway through the race. Robsu 4.5 seconds down after his mistake earlier. So he's lost time on those top ones. But Lawrence, look at how close he's staying to the Williams driver through sectors 1 and into the start of sector 2. He's practically pushing J-Man through this section of track.
Yeah, it's one thing to get past the driver, but it's another thing to hold the position and get rid of the driver that you've just passed at the moment. And, well, there's many, many elements to taking and holding positions and such. And, well, J-Man's got to try and shake Lawrence now, but the shoe's on the other foot. The DRS goes to Lawrence, and he's got it here, coming down, has a look to the inside, just trying to scare J-Man a little bit to maybe making a bit of a mistake, and it does mess him up a little bit for the second part of this complex on the helicopter shot here as we go. But can Lawrence get close enough through here? He does close a little bit through that corner. I'm not sure if he's going to be close enough. Perhaps he is. DRS is already open, and he's closing in. Is it going to be another switch of position as we go along? J-Man doesn't really defend it, lets the inside go to Lawrence and takes it, tries to go the long way around the outside. It can work if your car is positioned just right, but Lawrence takes the lead once again, and this battling could invite Jonathan to undercut them when their pit stops come around.
Well, there's the fastest lap from Jonathan, in fact, and he's caught them by 2 seconds already. So the undercut massive, clearly, as Lawrence and J-Man are really going to struggle to stay with the Ferrari. They're going to be on the softs, but even so, can they catch the Ferrari on the mediums? I really don't know. It's going to be very difficult for them. Crozer's gone on the hards. He's taken the safe option. He's 10 seconds down on Jonathan at the moment. Robsu's caught up the top two a little bit. But the other thing you've got to take note of, Sumo, look at the dashboard at the bottom if you do have it on your screen. Mr. J-Man has a yellow fuel light, which means he's got to be careful with his fuel to the end of this race. Otherwise, he's going to run out before the end.
Yes, I did notice that a moment ago, but there was a bit of a battle going on, so that stopped me from mentioning it. But yeah, he's got to be careful, got to save a bit of fuel perhaps. I've been plenty of times where you were going to run out of fuel, and well, I was in a race fairly recently, but I was going to run out of fuel and there was no way of stopping it, so I just retired from the race, sadly. But he's got to be careful of that one, especially if it starts flashing red. We'll definitely know if it's dangerous at the moment. But J-Man is pit, and Jonathan, well, he's onto the hards, J-Man, but Jonathan is about 6 seconds up the road.
Yeah, wow. That is an incredibly powerful undercut. J-Man on the hards as well, so he's not got the better tyre either. And I think J-Man is going to be out of the picture for this the conversation of the race win, unless a safety car comes into play. But yeah, it's so easy to run out of fuel here around here, Sumo. I did it on Friday. I ran out of fuel with half a lap to go. I only realised at the start of the last lap, it was desperately trying to save fuel in a few corners, but it wasn't enough, and I lost 2 positions because of it. So it's very easy to do around here, and J-Man's got to be very careful.
Yes, it does, and we'll keep an eye on that as well. Lawrence is now in, as well as Robsu. Jonathan's just coming round the final corner. Lawrence is going to opt for those soft compounder tyres. And is Robsu doing the same? He is. And, well, Jonathan's ahead. And he's going to be very much ahead. But can Lawrence make the most of those softs at the moment? How about J-Man? Where is he? Is he going to get ahead of Lawrence at the moment? I don't think so. There's Lawrence just in the background there. He's ahead of the Williams driver. So it's Jonathan, Lawrence and J-Man. It's shifted up quite dramatically with Jonathan leading the race now. We've had 3 different race leaders this race so far.
Yeah, but Robsu has a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, Sumo. So he could lose out to Crozer here. He's on the soft tyres, though, so he has an opportunity to pull away those 5 seconds from the Red Bull. But he's got to be He's got to be quick in order to do it. And, well, Lawrence, 5.5 seconds to Jonathan. He'll be shocked to see how big the gap is. Jonathan, absolutely electric on those medium tyres in his second stint. But they will be struggling towards the end, I have to say.
Yes, they will. And I think it's going to be... Lawrence has got to be quick. He's got to try and set the laps in, close that gap down as soon as he can, make the most out of those softs without burning off too much to get ahead of him, which will be hard here with the degradation the way that it is at the moment. It's down to 5 seconds now, the gap at the moment, and that extra grip will certainly help him through the twistier sections of the circuit. Jonathan looks fairly comfortable there, though. They've all got a decent amount of ERS in the bank, but Jonathan has got just under 70% of his battery left, whereas the others have just over 50%, and, well, J-Man just under it.
Yeah, indeed. Jonathan in control here, but Lawrence caught over a second in that last lap. So it's not over yet. But J-Man, yeah, losing a second. So J-Man pretty much similar on pace to Jonathan at this point, but unfortunately for him, he's 6.5 seconds behind him.
Yeah, he's also got Robsu slowly closing him down just a little bit there at the moment as well. I don't think the hard tyres, I mean, they may last long and they may be in an optimal window for a lot longer, but they're just, I don't think it was the right call. I think he should have maybe waited a lap or just went for the softs. They'd have definitely made it to the end. They won't have felt great on the last couple of laps, but Lawrence has just set the fastest lap. The gap is 3.5.
Yeah, Lawrence looking to take this one away from the Ferrari driver, and that will be good news for the likes of Crozer and Tier if Lawrence can do that, because Jonathan, of course, obviously Lawrence has more points in the championship fight, but he is a reserve. So Crozer and Tier will be hoping that Lawrence can take the win away from their probably real threat, Jonathan, in the Ferrari, because that's 4 points difference between P1 and P2. But here comes Robsu, like you say, on Mr. J-Man. 1.5 seconds is the gap now. Surely that pass will be done soon, but the Finn is going to have to contend with that 5-second penalty.
Yes, he's going to have to try and really open it up. He's opened up to Krauser now, so he doesn't have to worry too much about the Red Bull driver behind him, but he will still have to try and open up on J-Man, although managing to consolidate P4 wouldn't be a bad thing for Robsu if he doesn't catch or doesn't get too far ahead of J-Man, who is falling off of the back of Lawrence at the moment. Lawrence now 2.1 seconds is the gap. He is really putting the pressure on, and I think Jonathan might be feeling it a little bit, although I think Lawrence has used a little bit of VRS, whereas Jonathan's quite he's quite content to just go round at the moment.
Scott's gotten past Tier in the meantime, up to P6 for the AlphaTauri. Just before turn 1 made that pass, but both of them have the yellow fuel light. Robsu also has the light, Mr. J-Man of course, but everyone else seems okay for fuel for now. But I do wonder, Sumo, I wouldn't be surprised to see on the final lap some cars running out of fuel and this race changing very, very quickly.
Yes, it'll be a matter of who runs out of fuel and when. Krauser could get himself on the podium if the timing is completely wrong before the fuel lights going out on these cars. But 1.5 now the gap at the moment. We keep checking in around the time, so Jonathan will start to see Lawrence's Alfa Romeo in his mirrors just about. It'll be a little bit of a speck, but he'll be a bit more of a bigger one at least. And then he has been over the last few laps, and perhaps that'll encourage him to pick up the pace, but still not using any ERS, apparently using gear P, whatever that means, on the wheel there. That was a strange, I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
pace,
interesting one.
Pace
It's the pit lane. It's the pit lane gear.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
He's still got the pit limiter on, apparently.
Yeah.
Not going to turn that off, Jonathan.
Well, Tier's just come into the pits again for a set of softs. He's going to go for the fastest lap. He's already consigned to finishing in last place, so he's going to want that extra point. Currently, he would be... well, he's currently 5 points behind, so he would be 7 points behind Crozer as it stands. But we'll be hoping to make it 6 with the fastest lap. But look at that, Lawrence, only 1.2 seconds between him and Jonathan now. So those softs starting to wear away, and that gap not coming down as quickly, anywhere near as quickly as it was. And in fact, it might start going up again pretty soon, I think, Sumo. Although the mediums are going to start hitting their limit in the next few laps as well. So interesting battle on the cards here. And talking of battles, Robsu is in DRS range of Mr. J-Man and is going to be looking to make that pass, but again, he's got that pit lane speeding penalty to contend with, and that's going to be difficult to get to reduce the effects of, as J-Man still looking fairly comfortable on those hards, even if he is slow.
Yes, he is, and that's all he needs to really do. At the moment, he'll still be hoping that he doesn't run out of fuel. Maybe a bit of lift and coast from J-Man, perhaps. That might have also contributed to how quickly Robsu's caught up. But, of course, the pace on those hards, not going to be the best. It's under a second now, Ghost. It's just about. Did he get DRS there? Let's see. No, he didn't.
I don't think
not
so.
Not at that
no.
point. He's just outside. I think it just dipped back down again. But he's teetering on the edge of being within DRS range. And, well, Jonathan started using ERS now. And Lawrence has been using a fair bit of ERS too. So I think Jonathan might just be able to cover this off unless any mistakes creep in. And I think those softs, they might have just about reached their full potential and are starting to come down now for Lawrence at the moment.
Yeah, I think you're right. Lawrence is now going to find it very difficult to make this pass. He's going to be desperately wanting that win, but Jonathan will want it more because he wants to get into the championship battle here. As we see Scott go round at turn 1. That's a VSC, virtual safety car, in fact, for a little while due to Scott's spin. And that's also thwarted Tier's fastest lap attempt. I don't know if... Let me have a look and see if he was anywhere near. He's half a second off the fastest lap. So I think that VSC may well have thwarted his attempt, which is very unlucky if so. But Lawrence got to ensure he doesn't lose time under this VSC, because any time get lost here could be crucial in his chances of winning.
Yes, indeed. And this could help those who have got that yellow fuel light to maybe just about reach the end of the race by just going slowly for a little while under the VSC. I don't imagine it'll be on for much longer as everything's clear. I don't think Scott got any damage. It was just a spin from the AlphaTauri. There's lots of drivers touching the ground. Oh no, never mind. I spoke too soon. Scott has no wing.
Ah, that's a shame. So he will drop behind Tier. So that's an extra point for the Aston Martin driver. And Scott will finish P7 in this one. Virtual safety car still out. When's it going to come in? It's still yellow flags on circuit. It's flashing a bit, and there we go, green flags finally. Scott gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, just for good measure. But Lawrence is within DRS. Can he stay within DRS at the detection point? There, it was just over a second, but he did get DRS, and he will have that little boost down this small straight at the end of Sector 2, and that could allow him to stay within DRS for the final penultimate corner as well and get it on the home straight. That's what he needs to stay with this Ferrari.
Yes, he does. He's got the DRS this time, though. The detection point has picked him up. So I think the detection point is actually a bit further back now as well. So I could be a bit wrong there.
Look at how much ERS Jonathan saved up.
Wow, he's almost full on the ERS there. He's managed to save so much at the moment. Lawrence is going to be really finding it hard, but he's all over the back of the Ferrari now. The last few laps of this race are going to see a bit of a battle for the lead, and I reckon their tyres are probably somewhat equal for the time being, so this could be quite the fight.
Crozer into the pits for softs as well to go for fastest lap. Mr. J-Man's been passed by Robsu, so all he has to do is stay within 5 seconds and he will secure his second podium in a row. But Robsu will want that as well because he hasn't had a podium in a while. Crozer looking for fastest lap. Can he get it on the final lap? That's going to be his opportunity. So keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, here we go. Then another attempt at a pass. No, not close enough there for Lawrence. He was really committed in towards turn 11 there as he went through. You just saw how much he gained under braking and stays with the driver. He needs to be about 3/10 in order to make the pass. He's still got some ERS ready to go in the tank, but he's not opting not to use it at the moment. He's definitely just biding his time, waiting to build some up and launch the attack when he knows that Jonathan can't really fight back. Maybe on the final lap or on the run to the the line at the very end of the race. That would be my bets for when he goes, but any mistakes between now and then could be very crucial as he continues to chase down the Ferrari.
Well, that was a bit of a mistake from the Alfa Romeo through turn 4. Lost the rear a bit on exit, had to use a bit of ERS to compensate. So lost a bit of time there, and lost time there, went very wide through that corner. That'll have cost him a few tenths as well, and every tenth counts at this point. He's going to be burning all his ERS towards turn 1 here, I reckon. But as it stands, it's not going to be enough. He needs to find some time in these next few corners or hope for a mistake from the race leader. Lawrence so committed on the curb on the left as well to get as much entry angle as possible and down through the penultimate corner, but he's a bit wide of the apex and that's cost him a couple tenths. How crucial could that be? But Jonathan with a mistake on the exit loses the rear and onto the grass, and here comes Lawrence.
He's going to be forced to go right around the outside of the Alfa Romeo, and he's got himself ahead at the moment. All he's got to do is keep ahead. J-Man's out of this race. There's a bit of contact as well between the leaders.
J-Man out of the race. How did that happen? It looks like perhaps he lost it on his own, or there was contact with Robsu. I'm not sure, but he will be classified, but he'll be in P7. That's another couple of points for Crozer and Tier at the back. But Lawrence leads, but he's only got 5% ERS, and Jonathan could have him on the run to the line.
They're both going to be. They could both run out of fuel here as well, Ghost.
Oh yeah, they've both got red lights on fuel. Robsu's got it as well. Who's going to run out of fuel here and when? It's the final lap of the race through the penultimate corner. Someone's run out of fuel. That's Robsu's already run out of fuel in the Aston Martin, I think. Or maybe he just made
Jonathan.
a mistake.
Oh, it looks to the outside. Lawrence just holds him off at the moment. Now compromising for the second run. They're so close together at turn number 12 there. Just 2 more corners to navigate for the pair of them. Lawrence could have this, but the DRS is going to go the way of Jonathan, who has so much more ERS to use at the moment, and he's got that was so close, but Jonathan gets his first win of the season, I think, as he crosses the line for the Ferrari team. Second win of the season. I've not been here for a little while with Lawrence joining in.
Robsu's out of fuel. Tier and Scott are fighting as well, but Robsu's out of fuel. Can Crozer catch him before the line? Robsu's got no front wing either, and he's being given a 10-second time penalty, but I'm sure that'll get removed. So can Crozer catch him before the end? Robsu coming around the final corner. He's out of fuel. He's just limping to the line. Can Crozer snatch a podium here, I wonder? We'll assume that Robsu doesn't have the 10-second penalty. Is it going to be 5 seconds, though, across the line? What's the gap? If it's under 10 seconds, then Robsu takes it. It is! Robsu's gotten it. No, Crozer's gotten it, I think. Wait, I'm not sure. I'll think about that after, but Scott and Tier fighting as well. Both of them have run out of fuel as well at the end. So I think Tier will take P5. Let me think. Assuming Robsu will get that 10-second time penalty removed, then he will have the podium. I think.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah.
I think we have 3 seconds.
Yeah, we'll operate under the assumption that Robsu's on the podium.
Yes. Anyone in the chat can chime in. That would be great. But wow, what an exciting end to the race. Now let's run over to some interviews before the grid comes up. Leave party. Sorry to blue screen, everybody. Should know it's coming by now. It's been a crucial part of the for a little while now. There we go. As the leaders celebrate. One of the 3 standard celebrations on the podium. I don't know. I think there's 3. It's better than the 1 that I've seen time and time again. But there we go. Then it's Jonathan then taking his second win in APPF1 Tier 2. Just getting ahead of Lawrence on the final lap after a great battle between the two of them. Then it's Lawrence in P2 who comes on with the fastest lap as well, so we'll have an extra point. But he is a reserve, of course, so won't have too much impact on the championship other than taking points away from others. Then Krauser possibly on the podium, but we're making the assumption that it's Robsu on there at the moment, so it should be Robsu 4, Krauser, Robsu 3, Krauser 4. With Tier P5, then there's Scott P6, and there's J-Man P7 who crashed out on the penultimate lap, and then Tito Man who did not finish the race.
I got some news, Sumo, in the chat, in the Discord chat. I asked Robsu if his 10-second penalty is legit, and he said he thinks it is legit. I didn't quite see what happened. Maybe he just rode over the curb or rode over the corner when he was out of fuel to just gain a bit of extra time. So actually, I think it will be Crozo on the podium. Lawrence has already joined the party, but we'll get Jonathan and Crozo in as well.
Amazing. Well then, despite low numbers, a great race from everybody. Just waiting for the rest of the drivers to get themselves in. And we'll start the interviews at the moment. Tito Man said he got called, so that is why he didn't see out the last few laps of the race. Well, I say last few laps, or the second half of the race, I suppose, is the better way to put it. We'll just wait for everybody. Apparently I've got some mail on the game here at the moment. Let's see what that is. There we go. We've got everybody now. Oh wow! Got all these updates and things. Got 2 pages of messages. That's what happens when you go away for 2 weeks. Anyway, I'm assuming everybody's got their settings sorted out, so I'll start off these interviews then. Jonathan, first of all, hello. It's nice to interview you for at least my first time here on the interviews after being back. But it was a good race out there. Probably not the best qualifying. I know in your form at the moment we've taken pole position, but P3 wasn't so bad, and you bode your time. You used the undercut to full effect, and well, just got ahead of Lawrence at the very end. But run us through your race from your perspective.
Yeah, qualifying. You know, when you see that you're within a tenth or two or pole, you're always like, I could find that extra tenth. So I was a bit disappointed not to at least be second. Obviously, I think I was like 6 thousandths off second, so that was a little bit disappointing. So then for the race, I knew I kind of had to do something a little different to try catch them out, because they're clearly quick today as well. So I decided to start on the soft tyres and go for the undercut early on, which, as you saw, it worked really well. I gapped J-Man by like 6 seconds and then Lawrence by about 5, but I knew Lawrence on those softs was going to start catching, which let me push more, I guess. I think if he wasn't catching up as much, the concentration would have dropped a little, but I was on my toes the whole race. And then the VSC came out. It was at more or less the perfect time for me, because Lawrence was about to get DRS, and then when he did get into it after the VSC, I knew I had the energy to keep him behind for most of it. But when he overtook me on that final lap into turn 1, I kind of thought that was it, and I'm just gonna have to settle for P2. But I actually got a really good run on him through the second sector, and then I dummied a move down towards the end of sector 2, and he defended it and went slightly wide, which hampered his line for the rest of it. And then I was right on him then for the final straight, and I used every last bit of energy I had to get him to the line. But it was great racing all round.
Yeah, it was a thrilling battle to watch. We caught all of that for the last few laps of the race, and we did see that little dummy to the inside of turn, I think 11 it was, as you made your way through there. But it was a little tap on the grass, I think, that lost you the time during that qualifying lap, if I'm not mistaken. And there was a little bit of a mistake in that final corner on the penultimate lap, I think we saw. I don't think I quite saw it, but Ghost definitely pointed it out there. Was that just a little tap on the grass, or just a moment where the car just wasn't behaving in the way that you expected?
No, in qualifying, it was just me trying to find that little bit extra time, but I went a little bit too much over that limit and ended up losing it about half a tenth, which lost me obviously P2 or possibly P1. Then on that penultimate lap, I tried to keep that line as narrow as I can to lose as little time as possible going before DRS. But yeah, I turned a little bit too much and dropped onto the grass a little, which allowed him to go through.
Ah, there we go then. So that's what happened there. And well, is it fair to say that today they made you work a little bit harder for it, because we were commenting a lot on the amount of ERS usage, and well, for the majority of the race you were using fairly little of it, but we did see that you used a lot more than you might have typically wanted to during the race. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, they definitely made me work for that win today, but I got to give credit to Lawrence. He battled great for that, and he's just unlucky to finish short of the win there.
No, yeah, it was a great little battle. I'm sure we'll hear a lot from Lawrence's side, but well done today. You've got another 5 races left to go, so I'm sure you'll be eager to throw yourself in amongst the guys at the top of the championship at the moment. But good luck going forward, and I'm sure we'll see you in the interview room again.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you guys for the commentary today.
No problem. Well, we'll hand over to Ghost then for an interview with Lawrence.
Well, Lawrence, that was a very tough one to lose it on the final straight like that. But what a battle between you and Jonathan. What do you think lost it for you in the end? Was it the lack of ERS? Was it the VSC that cost you some valuable time and gave Jonathan some valuable ERS, or was it the undercut much earlier, or a combination of all three?
Well, first of all, before I forget, congratulations, Jonathan. That was a brilliant race. Gnarly, worthy of, I'd say, the attendance, I guess. I was really surprised to see how powerful the undercut was. This is the first time I've actually done like a proper race on here since the last game. Jonathan was incredibly fast on those mediums. Didn't realise how much time I lost. The soft tyres were good. Like from when I pitted to the end of the race, they was good. I'd say the ERS caught me out, especially on that last lap, because I know I had to burn it all just to get past him, knowing that in just previous races how Jonathan conserves his ERS. It was now or never really. I was expecting some sort of attack on the DRS straight. I think it's going to turn 11, just at the end of the DRS straight. I had to hold a defensive line in there, and by the time I got round into sector 3, I just had no ERS left, and obviously just how early the new DRS point is, it just made it even harder to hold him back. He drove brilliantly. Thankfully, I would say the virtual safety car actually made that ending, so I had to save. I did manage to save just enough fuel to launch an attack. Otherwise, if there was no VSC, that race would have probably been done 3 or 4 laps earlier.
Yeah, so tough one to lose at the end, but a wonderful battle between you two. Another great performance from you in Tier 2 once again. You're still doing no line in Tier 2, right? Or are you using the line?
No line. I turn off the line. As I always do in Tier 2. Maybe I'll try and find another way to nerf myself. Maybe I'll turn off ABS.
Don't worry about it. It's a very close race between you and Jonathan, so I think it's just about all right. But kudos to you, and I'm sure well, you'll continue with your reserve drives, putting in a performance in Tier 2. So well done today.
Yeah, always happy to help. As I was going over the line, I was just saying, you're just a reserve, just a reserve. Just to make it that little bit easier.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for filling out the grid a little tonight, anyways.
Yeah, thanks for your comms, guys. See you next week.
Indeed, I'll hand over to Sumo for Crozer.
Well, I mean, as far as we can tell, this is an official podium for you, Krauser. I mean, we'll check all the ins and outs, but we'll carry on as normal. Perhaps a bit of a surprise considering the race that you had.
Yeah. Welcome back. First of all, nice to have you back.
It's good to be back.
But yeah, it was a surprise. I haven't had. I literally went on at lunchtime and grabbed the setup, did a quick lap on controller just to kind of make sure it wasn't a mess around one or something. And I don't race on controller, and then saved it and then got in late and put the setup on and had a go. So I was just kind of expecting to trundle around at the back, pick up some points, and then yeah, I guess it all kind of came my way at the end, really kind of flukily. But I boxed to try and go for fastest lap because I felt like I was getting in a good rhythm. I don't know how much I missed out by, but if I didn't box, I probably would have got even kind of safer away from the penalty and maybe would have taken over Rob's, who, because he was slow anyway, wasn't he? I think he ran out of fuel or something. So
He did.
He did run out of fuel, yeah. And well, yeah, it was it wasn't the best of qualifyings then, but you know, down to a little lack of practice and not joining in too late. But it's been quite a good run at the moment. But you know, we didn't see too much of you from the race. I think we did have a few moments between you and Tito, man, who was giving you a bit of trouble there as you were trying to make your way through the field.
yeah, I mean, I saw at the start of the race, the first lap or two, you could tell that the first kind of the front 4 or 5 were kind of breaking away. So I think it was Scott, me, and Thedo were at the back. I think they were both on softs and I was on mediums, and I was just kind of trying to get through them. And yeah, I had a bit of a coming together with Scott. I'd look back at it, and I'm not 100% sure that it was either of us at fault. I think it was just a bit of a driving error, maybe. I don't know, just like he positioned quite far to the right before the banking. I thought he was leaving me space, and I broke well within time on the braking line, and then he kind of just came down into me. So that was coming together, and then after that, Thedo man was just kind of behind me in DRS, coming in, pulled some good moves. It was nice bit of racing. I thought he went for the undercut, so I tried to cover him off, and then he retired in the pit lane. So that was a bit of a shame. Would have been nice to have a few laps up against him, and just to make it more of a race rather than a bit of a sprint session. But yeah.
Yeah, it was still a good race despite the low numbers, and well, hopefully next week we can get a few more. But we've got 5 more rounds to go, and well, Jonathan looks like he might be threatening the front of the grid, and you and Tira sort of leading the way with everybody else. Is it game on from here on in?
I've said every single time I've been in the interviews this season, that I'm not looking at that at all, because I know there's so many more faster drivers in this division. I tier 1.5 for a few others to go into maybe, and then but it's difficult, isn't it? If you can't get the numbers, then you have to fill up the grid however you can. Yeah, I mean, it's more of I've won the constructors a few times with LB. It'd be nice to win it with JB, and then just show that it wasn't a fluke, because LB was a quick driver.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if LB last season's anything to go by, there's definitely do not at least do not count yourself out, or anything can. Well, at least anything can happen any time. We all know what tier 2's like, but well done today. Hopefully the stewards are nice to you if that does come up, and we'll see if that penalty does stand up for Robsu in the meantime. But at the very least, well done on a podium today.
Yeah, cheers, guys. We'll see what happens at the end of the day. Just a few points will help me. And thanks again for the comms. Thanks again.
No problemo. Well, that's it. That's Zanful. Any closing thoughts, Ghost? Any final final summaries of this evening's race?
Yeah, it's it was a difficult one with numbers, but I think we still had a decent race. We had a battle for the lead, battle for the podium, people running out of fuel at the end, and as Scott put it, the slowest drag race in F1 history between him and Tier, to the checkered flag with them both out of fuel. So, yeah, it's a fun one in the end. But, Silverstone next week. So hopefully some good numbers and a very good race is on the cards.
Yeah, I'm very much hoping for some good numbers. I'll be very, very disappointed if we don't get at least 12 as a minimum for Silverstone, as it is a very beloved track, but that is the halfway point. Just 5 races left to go. It's Silverstone, Singapore, Austin, Montreal and Spielberg remaining, so join us at the same time once again for that. I'll be here for the rest of the season and the seasons going forward, unless I'm struck down by the smiting of God or some strange other unforeseen circumstances. But anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody who watched. First of all, I'm still a bit rusty after taking some time off, but thank you to everyone who watched and tuned in and who liked the stream. If you've reached this far, make sure you like the stream before you finish off watching as well, and subscribe if you've not done so already. All the support does go a very, very long way. And check out all the other racing going on. If you want to see me do some racing in a couple hours time, I'll be streaming again around 10:30, so do join in for that. And of course there's plenty of other stuff going on APP as well on Fridays and Sundays as well. And of course, if you know any racers, do get them in and get them to join in for some awesome Tier 2 action. But that's going to be it. I'll stop rambling on. But for now, I have been Sumo.
I have been Ghost.
And we will see you this time next week for Silverstone for round number 6 of the APPF1 Tier 2 Championship. But it's goodbye for now.